everyone, and welcome back to Poplet Book Club. Our 11th book this year is The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. The Handmaid's Tale was originally written in 1985, and Atwood didn't originally intend to ever write a sequel to it. But not long before Hulu released its live-action series in April of 2017, she decided that she wanted to tell more of the story of Gilead. So, 35 years later, we have a sort of conclusion to it. While Testaments is not directly inspired by the show, Atwood has worked with the show's creators and has taken some elements from it, including some character names. Whether you've read the original book or you've just watched the show, Testaments offers an interesting additional look into the world of Gilead. So let's get into it. In The Handmaid's Tale, Atwood tells the story of Offred, but for the sequel, a jump in time offered her more possibilities. So, The Testaments is written around 3 different characters 16 years into the future. The most detailed of these is Aunt Lydia. Although Aunt Lydia features prominently in the show, she's more of a shadow in the first book. In The Testaments, Lydia becomes fully fleshed out as a character. Through her, we get a better understanding of how Gilead began, because she's one of the 4 founding aunts, who together created the rules, procedures, education, and culture of the females in Gilead. She is, therefore, responsible for much of what women experience in this dystopian society. Of course, then, she is also guilty of many terrible things, both by her own hands and through others at her command. Through her journaling, we see that she accepts this as fact, but is also regretful for what her actions have caused. At one point, she notes, "Better to hurl rocks than to have them hurled at you, or better for your chances of staying alive." They knew that so well, the architects of Gilead. On one hand, the person throwing the rocks did make the decision to do so, but on the other hand, a choice made under duress is not entirely a personal choice. And those who have power over you are well aware of their ability to push people to do terrible things for their own benefit. Lydia recognizes that she plays both of these roles, the controller and the controlled. But she maintains that she uses her role between the men in charge and the women of Gilead to lessen the blow that the men might have dealt had she not interfered. Though it may not seem like it, she does utilize grace and mercy where she's able to, and her ability to do this is perhaps the main thing pushing her forward in this regime. The other 2 characters featured in the story are also female. The daughter of a commander in Gilead named Agnes, who we see grow up, and a 15-year-old girl in Canada named Daisy, who becomes a part of Mayday, the underground group working to take down Gilead and rescue people from it. If you've seen the show, you will quickly figure out who these 2 girls are. If you haven't, it likely won't be much of a surprise to you either. Agnes is used to give the reader a look into the world of a Gileadian child, what school is like for a young girl, how a child interacts with their household, and what a preparation for marriage is like. Daisy, meanwhile, is mostly used to push the plot forward. She does give us a look into how Mayday operates, but seeing as she's still a teen, she's more following orders than making plans. Overall, the first half of the book sets up the characters in background, and it's not until the middle that the plot really starts moving forward. That's not to say the beginning is boring, it's a very quick read throughout. But this is a character-driven novel, and while there is some action, the pace is very different from the show. While I haven't actually read The Handmaid's Tale, though I have watched the whole Hulu series, I think it's fair to say that a lot of the themes present in The Testaments are also present in the predecessor. Misogyny, deceit, power dynamics, religion, and the methods used to control others. Many would also say feminism is a strong theme, but Atwood has been adamant that that is not the case. With so many shared points, then, this almost seems to beg the question, why was it written? Some have said it was to take control back from the show, but Atwood denies this, saying that the book stemmed from a single question. How do totalitarianisms fall apart? Fair. It is a very interesting question to delve into, and Atwood certainly has the setting to do it in. However, while surely there isn't an absolute answer to that question, it does not feel like she really gave us much of an explanation. The plot includes snippets of resistance throughout it, both within and without Gilead. There are also scenes to show that some in power are losing control or fighting amongst each other, which causes instability. Is there a moment, though, where we know that Gilead is falling apart? Is there a solid series of events that leads to its destruction? Not for the reader, no. In the final chapter, we finally get a basic rundown of what happened, but even then, the details are lacking and in question. It would seem the answer that Atwood provides to her own question is, it's complicated and drawn out, and no one will ever know exactly. As accurate as that may be, I don't feel like it's a very satisfactory result for a novel. And while I understand the concept of an open-ended narrative, that's not what this is either. Gilead ends, we just don't really get to see how. Unfortunately, despite the fact that overall I did like the book, I find myself agreeing with others who felt reading it just wasn't very worthwhile. I wanted the story to be intense and hard-hitting, and that's just not what it was. Now that I've talked a bit about the content of the novel, I'm going to go ahead and get into the discussion questions. Please answer these or give any of your other thoughts that you had about the book in the comments below. For those who have read it, the conclusion of The Handmaid's Tale left readers with many tantalizing questions. Did any of your questions get answered by the Testaments? Which did not? Did the Testaments change your perception of Aunt Lydia? Why or why not? Daisy, or Jade as she is known as later, is, to say the least, a reluctant revolutionary. But if you were her age and asked to absorb all of that shocking information in such a short amount of time, would your reaction have been any different? Of all the groups of women in Gilead, who do you think has the most freedom? Sisterhood, in all sense of the word, dominates the text. It is particularly poignant at the end. What do you interpret sisterhood as meaning in the Testaments? Agnes considers her admittance to Hildegard Library a golden key that will reveal the riches that lay within. But it is here that she learns the truth about the Bible stories that she was taught as a child, and the truth about her family. Is there any book in life that provided you with a similar pivotal and eye-opening experience? There are a lot of thought-provoking quotes in the novel, and I think the characters are fairly realistic given the setting. I did enjoy reading the book for the most part, but the plot wasn't what I was expecting. It certainly gave me a lot to mull over, and I hope that you got something out of reading it as well. If you haven't read it yet and would like to, you can find physical copies of it in our catalog or digital copies via Overdrive or Libby. If you want something similar but less dystopian, you can head over to the Laurel Facebook page and watch the recording of Ling Enger discussing his latest book, American Gospel, which explores American obsession with apocalypse and religious extremism. Well, that should wrap it up for this video. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope that you have a happy and safe holiday season, and I will see you in 2021. Take care.